The American Revolutionary War lasted 8 brutal years. Thousands died, empires trembled. History changed forever. But what if it hadn't? What if the war ended in weeks? Not because the British fought harder, but because they knew everything before it happened. Every ambush, every supply shortage, every rebel hideout. No spies, no traitors, just one supercomputer, powered by 2026-level artificial intelligence. Tonight, we simulate a chilling alternate history where the British Empire doesn't lose America. Because AI never lets them. Britain's real enemy wasn't Washington. In 1775, Britain was not overstretched, it was not poor, and it was not militarily inferior. What Britain truly lacked was real-time understanding. Communication across the Atlantic took weeks. Orders were outdated by the time they arrived. Maps were inaccurate. Weather patterns were poorly understood. Generals fought wars based on assumptions, not data. Meanwhile, the American rebels thrived in chaos. They didn't need to defeat Britain outright. They only needed to survive long enough to exhaust it. George Washington lost more battles than he won, but survival was victory. That strategy only works when your enemy cannot see the future. Artificial intelligence changes that entirely. Introducing the supercomputer that changes everything. Picture this. Deep beneath London, hidden from the public, the Crown activates a system we'll call Crown AI. This isn't a thinking machine with emotions. It's something far more dangerous. A predictive engine, built with 21st century capabilities. Crown AI ingests every piece of available data. Troop movements, supply shipments, weather records, terrain elevation, population density, economic outputs, and human behavior models. Using the same principles modern militaries already rely on, it begins to simulate outcomes not days ahead, but months. Washington is no longer a heroic mystery. He becomes a pattern. Every decision he makes is analyzed against thousands of similar historical scenarios. His options shrink before he even chooses them. The British don't need spies anymore. They have probabilities. The end of guerrilla warfare. One of the greatest strengths of the American rebels was unpredictability. Small militias moved quickly, struck unexpectedly, and disappeared into forests and towns where British troops couldn't easily follow. With AI, unpredictability dies. Crown AI models terrain down to footpaths and river crossings. It calculates where ambushes are most likely based on elevation, tree cover, and known colonial travel habits. British units no longer march blindly into danger. They reroute, they wait, they bait. Battles like Lexington and Concord don't erupt into chaos. Instead, British forces arrive prepared, positioning troops where rebels would have appeared, only to find nothing. Because the rebels realize too late that every move has been anticipated, rebel commanders begin to sense something is wrong. Logistics, the silent killer of revolutions. No army collapses first on the battlefield. It collapses in the supply chain. The Continental Army relied on fragile logistics, local farms, sympathetic civilians, borrowed weapons, and inconsistent funding. Britain, historically, failed to exploit this weakness fully because it couldn't see the entire system. AI sees everything. It identifies food-producing regions and calculates seasonal dependencies. It tracks how grain moves from farms to towns, how gunpowder is manufactured, and where supplies bottleneck. Instead of occupying cities, British forces target distribution points. Instead of chasing soldiers, they block rivers. Instead of fighting battles, they starve momentum. Hunger spreads quietly. Desertions increase. Soldiers don't defect because they've lost hope, but because they've lost food. No heroic last stand fixes an empty stomach, breaking the civilian backbone. Revolutions don't survive on armies alone. They survive on civilians willing to suffer. Crown AI understands this better than any 18th century general ever could. Breaking the civilian backbone. Revolutions don't survive on armies alone. They survive on civilians willing to suffer. Crown AI understands this better than any 18th century general ever could. Using omniscient pattern recognition, the system maps influence across colonial society: printers, merchants, clergy, dockmasters, landowners. It doesn't act loudly. Public crackdowns create martyrs. Instead, pressure is applied with surgical restraint. Shipments are delayed at ports without explanation. Paper supplies fail to arrive. Debts are suddenly called in. Court dates are moved forward. Travel passes are quietly denied. No proclamations, no mass arrests, just friction. Fear spreads without spectacle. Meetings grow smaller. Pamphlets arrive late, or not at all. Supporters hesitate. Money stops moving. The rebellion doesn't explode. It fades. Psychological warfare without a single shot. The most devastating effect of AI is not physical destruction. It's inevitability. Crown AI calculates morale trends, identifying when belief collapses even if armies still exist. British commanders don't announce victories. They leak inevitability. Rumors circulate that Britain knows everything, that resistance leaders are already compromised, that escape routes are blocked before anyone moves. Washington continues writing letters, urging unity, but AI has already calculated who will answer and who never will. Hope becomes statistically irrelevant. Why France never joins the fight. Historically, the American Revolution was saved by France. Without French ships, money, and troops, independence would have failed. AI ensures that never happens. Crown AI runs diplomatic simulations, modeling French decision-making with terrifying accuracy. It identifies the exact conditions under which France would intervene. Decisive rebel victories, public humiliation of British forces, and clear momentum. So Britain prevents all of it. There are no dramatic turning points, no Saratoga, no moment that proves the rebels are worth the investment. From Paris, the rebellion looks like a slow collapse. France doesn't gamble its economy on a lost cause. And without France, the revolution suffocates. A war that ends before it begins. By late 1776, the rebellion is already unsustainable. Washington still exists. His army still marches. But every move is shadowed, intercepted, or neutralized before it matters. Negotiations begin not from strength, but desperation. Britain offers limited reforms, representation adjustments, economic concessions, enough to end resistance, not enough to create independence. The war doesn't become legendary. It becomes administrative, the world that never emerges. Without American independence, history fractures. There is no constitution to inspire global democracy, no Bill of Rights to serve as a template, no United States to reshape global power in the 20th century. The British Empire doesn't fracture early. It evolves faster, adopting data-driven governance centuries ahead of schedule. Other revolutions never ignite, or are extinguished quietly before they spread. The modern world becomes optimized, stable, and centralized, efficient, predictable, and profoundly controlled. The final warning. The American Revolution succeeded because empires couldn't predict human chaos. Artificial intelligence removes chaos when every rebellion is simulated before it begins. When resistance is identified before it organizes, when freedom becomes a statistical anomaly. Revolutions don't fail dramatically. They simply never start. This isn't a story about the past. It's a preview of the future. If this alternate history unsettled you, subscribe, because the next revolution won't be fought with muskets. It will be fought against machines that already know how it ends. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video. It really helps the channel. Subscribe for more fact-based cinematic stories about history, power, and AI. Because understanding the future starts with questioning the past.